Hi, welcome to Sarah Lilly Makes. My name is Sarah. I am the maker behind the channel. This is my little journaling space here on YouTube where I like to talk about the things that I am working on, that I have recently finished, maybe things that I plan to work on, and sometimes some things that I've recently acquired. This is episode 11, and I am ready to talk about some things that I've been working on recently. It's been a while. It's been about a month. I did not intend to go so long. From the very beginning when I started this channel, I had really wanted to attempt to have an episode every 2 weeks, but life happens. I have 4 kids. We're a very busy family. And yeah, life just happens, and these past 3 to 4 weeks have been utterly chaotic, so I just did not have a moment to record. Things are finally calming down again, so I am back here. I have a few things that I have finished that I would like to share, and some things that I'm working on, and some acquisitions. And yeah, let's jump in. So welcome back if you are returning. I've had quite a few new subscribers since my last episode, so thank you for being here. Thank you for clicking on that subscribe button. If you haven't already, please do so. It would mean so much to me, and it would just help me a lot. Yeah, I've had quite a few new subscribers since my last episode, so thank you again for choosing to spend your time with me and for checking out what I have to say. Yeah, it's been fun watching the channel kind of slowly grow over time, and it's been exciting for me. A little admin notes down below in the description box. I will include everything that I talk about today. I feel like I neglect to say that at the start of every episode, and then I have questions asking where I purchased like my pattern booklets or yarn or whatnot, but everything that I talk about, I will do my best below to include it in the description box. So if I fail to do so, please don't hesitate to just nudge me and ask, and I'll be more than happy to reply and share where I got my products, my booklets and the yarn and everything else. Yeah, I think that's about it for admin. Yeah, like I said, it's been a month, a little over a month. And I haven't really had a whole lot of knitting time in the past month. So I did get some knitting done, and I'm gonna share that in this episode. So yeah, it's getting kind of late. It's like 3:30 right now, and it's supposed to rain today, which if you live in California, rain is exciting because it never rains. Now that we are getting into rainy season, it is exciting, and I love rain. So it might get a little dark as the episode progresses, so I have my little light set up to prevent what happened in the last episode where the light completely switched. So I believe I said that this is episode 11 already, and that's exciting for me. Before I actually get into everything, I will talk about what I'm wearing, and this is the Kelly Genser. This is the Kelly Genser from Sandnes Garn. I have the booklet here. I had it ready to share. So this is the DIY booklet from Sandnes Garn, and it is 2109. 2009. And this was a bit of a labor of love. Not really love, but I don't know if you could tell, but okay, so let's look at the sweater first. It has a giant split from about halfway through the body, or halfway once you finish the yoke, and you split for sleeves. This is all twisted, and inches of twisted rib. So, yeah. Not so much a labor of love, because I do not love twisted rib. I cannot think of another knitter that loves twisted rib, but I could be wrong. Maybe somebody out there loves to knit twisted rib. I don't. And because it is knitted flat at the bottom, the both inside and outside is twisted. So I don't remember. Yep, the whole thing is twisted rib, twisted knits, and twisted pearls. Yeah. So, wasn't the most fun. So it's a mock neck raglan, very deep raglan, and then a very deep split, or very high split rather, which I absolutely love. And then, yeah, lots of decreases on the sleeves to make it very tapered. Can you see? Yeah. And then, what else? This is knitted with pure Gynt and Tynn silk mohair. I don't remember the colors, but I'm pretty sure the pure Gynt was marzipan. And I will just double check my Ravelry notes and I'll include it over here somewhere, as always. And yeah, so this actually took me a really long time to knit because I was getting so tired of the twisted rib. So I put it down for like months. And I finished it off maybe last summer sometime. I started it like 6 months before. Yeah. But it's actually not my longest standing sweater. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, so this is the Kelly Genser from Sandnes Garn's 2109 booklet. And that is what I am wearing today, and I love it. Like, despite how long it took, how tedious the twisted rib is, I love it. It's comfortable. I have no issues with pure Gynt and mohair. I find combination very comfortable. I do have like a t-shirt underneath here, but the rest is like on my skin, and it's a comfortable garment to me. And it's a basic neutral that I reach for when it's colder, and I just love wearing it. So yeah, that is the Kelly Genser, and yeah, that's what I'm wearing. We can move into my finished objects. I have 5 finished objects, and one of them was a gift knit that has already been gifted to its recipient, and I can just talk about it briefly. It really doesn't need much introduction. It's the Sophie Scarf, my petite knit. I'll insert a picture here of the finished object. But I knitted a little gift for the director of the play, the show, the production that both of my boys were in this past. That's kind of why life has been busy. My kids are very actively involved in children's theater. And as a parent, we have a requirement to participate as well. And I volunteer my time to costumes because I like costumes. I like costuming, and it's fun for the most part. It's overwhelming at the end as we get up towards the show days, but it's fun. And I love the director of the show. She is a great mentor to all of the kids, really, but she was really nurtured and loved on my children. So I just wanted to gift her something, and I asked my son, what do you think she would like, my older son? I was like, I can make her a beanie, but I don't know if she's a beanie person. So I cast on a beanie, and it's a finished object. We'll talk about it in a minute. And then I realized I have never seen her wear a beanie. I mean, we're indoors, we're inside all the time, but like when we pass each other outside, I don't think I've ever seen her wear a beanie. And she seems like an accessories person, so maybe I could make her a scarf. And he was like, oh yeah, I wear a scarf in one of the scenes. This show is Mary Poppins, by the way. My boys were in Mary Poppins. My older son was Bert, and my younger son was Michael Banks. And it was amazing, and it was fun, and it was beautiful, and it was bittersweet, and yeah. Back to the knitting. He said he wears a scarf in one of the scenes as a chimney sweep, and he wears a little red scarf, and I was like, oh, I might have red yarn. Of course I have red yarn. And so I was looking through for something that would be easy care, so preferably superwash. I was looking through, I found a skein of Madelinetosh, one of a kind. I think it was like a mystery pack I had purchased 2 Christmases ago or 2 Black Fridays ago, and I got this gorgeous like red tonal, variegated almost, but it's mostly red with like speckles of black and dark grays, and I thought it would be perfect to match, not really match, but it would be meaningful because, you know, yeah. So I made her a Sophie scarf, and yeah, I used a DK weight Madelinetosh, or is it Tosh Vintage? I have the, okay, yes, Tosh Vintage. So DK weight superwash merino wool, and I knitted the large size. Honestly, I just kept knitting until I felt in my hand that I had knitted about half. I could have weighed it. I didn't. I was just measuring it as I go, like by weight, by feel in my hand. So I knitted until then I realized I was around the size large, where you do a certain amount of increases, but that was the size large increases. And I knitted a couple more increases, maybe like 3, and then I felt that was a good length, and then I started the decreases. I could have gone a little bit more because I have this much left, and this would be good for like color work addition, because I have a few things in mind for the next month. But anyway, I used most of the yarn. I didn't weigh this, but I feel like this is like maybe 15 grams or 20 maybe. Anyway, yeah, so I'll just put a picture here of the scarf if I haven't already, and she loved it. She was very thankful for it. She thought, yeah, it was very nice to have gifted that to her, and I thought it was just meaningful and just a fun little gift. So that was the Sophie scarf. I talked more than I had intended to, but that's okay. Okay, so the next finished object I have is the hat that I was just talking about. So this is the must-have beanie from Sandnes Garn, and this is knitted with 2 strands of double Sunday. This pattern is from the 22, let me double check. This is also a DIY, 2210. So the pattern is from this booklet. And so in this booklet, there are 2 beanie patterns. They're one size, I'm pretty sure. let's see. Yes. So both of these beanie patterns are one size. The first one is knitted with a single strand of double Sunday, and the second one is 2 strands of double Sunday. And they're both knitted on 3.5 millimeter needles. So this is a very dense, very thick, very squishy, incredibly stretchy beanie. Like, it's just delicious. I am not a beanie person, but I'll just throw it on. So I knitted this, and I was initially going to give this to our director, but I decided I'll just give this to my husband for Christmas. I am knitting a sweater for him that is in this same color. Yeah, that was from last year for his birthday. I don't know when I'll get back to that. We'll talk about that another time. But so this beanie is very simple, very straightforward. 1x1 rib. There is a purl ridge. Well, it's a knit ridge when you are knitting it in the round, and then you fold up and it becomes the purl ridge, the folding edge there, right there. I haven't washed and blocked these yet. I don't think it's going to really need a whole lot of blocking because it's very giant. It will fit my husband's head very well. Not that he has a big head or anything. It's just, it'll fit him comfortably. And yeah, there are 4 separate areas where you do the decreases. So you do the decreases in this section here, this section here, this section here, and at the back. And it's like 5. There's a 5 stitch count in between, like a 5 stitch panel, I suppose, in between where you do the decreases. And yeah, I really enjoyed knitting this, except that it is 2 strands of double Sunday on 3.5 millimeter needles. So it really was a little difficult to work, especially its ribbing. It's 1x1 rib, and it's just like my left hand was cramping a little bit. So I took a lot of breaks on this. And this shouldn't have taken as long as it did. It took 6 days, but there was no way that I was going to consistently work on this because it was putting a strain on my hand, and I was not going to hurt or injure myself for a beanie. So I just took breaks when I started feeling my hand cramping up a bit, and then I finished it off yesterday, I think. So yeah, but it was this is the crown. I like the panel. I like the X that it creates with the 4 separate areas that you decrease. And yeah, I do intend to do the single double Sunday version. And I want to make 2 more hats for Christmas, 2 more beanies for Christmas with that pattern, not the double Sunday held double, because that's just too much of a strain and it's not worth injuring myself for that. But the double Sunday held single would be perfectly fine. And that is my second finished object. And my third finished object is another beanie that I also finished yesterday. And this one was much faster to knit on because it is a single strand of DK on 4 millimeter needles. So this is the Stockholm Hat by Petite Knit, and that is very washed out. So I will include a picture here. But it's a gorgeous, gorgeous yarn. This is Hedgehog Fibres Merino DK, and I got this in a Potluck. This is a Potluck colorway, which means it's a one-of-a-kind. It's not a named colorway. And I got this in a discount bundle, Potluck bundle she had a few months ago. That was like 25% off a bundle. and I grabbed it. You could request if you want what like color schemes you wanted. So I said I wanted bright, confetti, airy, pastel, neutrals, no dark, and moodies, because that's not really my cup of tea too much. Not for variegated yarn anyway. I don't like moody colored variegated yarn as much as the speckly, neon, confetti colors. So I requested that. I got this. I was super happy. It was just a single skein, so I thought I could use it for a hat or a pair of gloves. And then I decided to knit this Stockholm hat from Petite Knit. And I finished it off yesterday as well. Again, not much of a beanie person, but both of these beanies have not been washed and blocked yet. So how this one is constructed is you knit a tube of ribbing, and then you start decreasing. So this one has two panels of stitches where you do decreases on either side. So you do 4 sets of decreases, whereas this one you did 8 sets of decreases. Now I think both of them, I don't have a preference, I don't think, after knitting both of these. I don't think I have a preference really, but I like them both for separate reasons that I really don't know why. I just like them differently, if that makes sense. And I don't know that I like the decreases on the left side. So it might be hard to tell. Nope, it's not hard to tell. This is the area. Okay. I apologize. She needed a snack. Okay. Where was I? The decreases. Like, I don't know of a better way to solve this issue where you're knitting 2 together or purling 2 together in this section right here where you're doing that decrease, and it just kind of leaves a gap that I'm not too happy about. And I really don't think blocking would solve this issue. I don't know. Like the right side, there's no issue on the right side. Right there. It's just the left side. So the decreases are different on that side as well. So, but yeah. Anyway, I do like this project. I like both of those, and these are both gifts for the holidays, and I don't know who is going to receive this yet, but it'll be somebody maybe in our family. So yeah, those are my beanies that I've finished, and my next 2 finished objects are garments. I will talk about the one that was a whip in my last episode, and that is the Facile Sweater. So, you saw this in my last episode. This is a very bulky, but somehow very lightweight. It is knitted with brushed alpaca from Sandnes Garn, and it is knitted with 2 strands of brushed alpaca held double. So the Facile Sweater was a plan from my autumn plans list. I had originally intended to knit it with a different color, but that is the yarn that was knitted in the sample in the booklet, and I fell in love with that, so I just went with it. I still have the pink brushed alpaca that I had wanted to use at the beginning, but I will use that for something else, and I have something in mind already that I will talk about that as a later plan. So yes, the Facile Sweater is from Sandnes Garn's booklet 2308. It's their newer DIY booklet. that I've shared on here quite a few times. It is a very beginner-friendly pattern. It is very straightforward. It's very simple and very easy to understand. And it is a drop shoulder construction. You knit the back, a rectangle panel. You pick up the stitches for the front, you knit down, you join. You're doing increases here as you're knitting down. You join, you knit down, pick up the sleeves, knit down, bind off in the knit stitch, bind off at the body in the knit stitch. You do a couple decreases on the sleeves. You don't do any on the body, but I did that. I modified it where I added like 6 decreases on the body because I just didn't want it to flare. Not that I thought that it would flare, but just to be cautious, I suppose. I just added a couple of decreases. It didn't make it tight or anything. It was just, yeah, just some extra decreases to taper the body a little bit so it doesn't flare out. It does not have short rows, so that is the only downside, I would say, of this pattern. But other than that, it's very straightforward, very simple, very quick. It is knitted on, I think, 12 millimeter, no, US 12s. I'll correct myself here if I'm wrong. But yeah, it's very quick, very easy, very straightforward. I used almost all of the suggested yarn. And yeah, that's about it, I think. Nothing else too much to say. I'll include some B-roll and some action wearing pictures if I'm able to. I'm trying to be better about that and including some wearing videos about how the garment looks and all of that. So I'm trying to be better about that, and I hope that it helps if someone is interested in knitting a pattern that I talk about and you see what it looks like. That's helpful. Yeah. Okay. Moving on to my last finished object, and it is the Romy Sweater. And this is also from Sandnes Garn. I have the booklet here. Yeah. It's this pattern on the booklet cover. It's 23, the booklet number is 2311. And this is the Romy Sweater, and it is knitted with pure Gynt and tin silk mohair. And this is my version. And I love this thing. This garment was a lot of fun to knit. I haven't really had a whole lot of chances to wear this because we haven't really had much cold weather. The lowest is like 40s, and that's at night. And I ain't going anywhere at night. I am a mom. I am home with my kids. Anyway, so I haven't really had a chance or an opportunity to wear this, sadly, and it is sad because I love this and I want to be able to wear it. I knit my hair into my garments like non-stop. So how this is constructed, this is a drop shoulder. There are short rows. You're doing short row shaping at the back. I will share the back and then I'll talk about this a little bit more. So you do short row shaping here as you're constructing the back panel. Then you knit down, you cut the yarn, then you start at the front, you pick up the left shoulder here, and then you do short rows, you knit down, you cut the yarn, you pick up the right shoulder, you knit down, you're doing increases to shape the neck at the same time, and it has a very deep I don't know if you could see it. Where is it? Oh, a very deep, what is this word? I don't know the word for this. What is the word? It's a very wide stitch count for the neckband, for the neckband shaping. What am I trying to say? It's a wide stitch count. Like, there are like 5 or 6 stitches where you do the increases. I don't know if you could see that. But I like this. I like how wide it is. It's very sophisticated, I think. And then you join, you knit down. You're knitting the horizontal stripes as you're knitting down as you're knitting the fabric, as you're knitting the garment, you're knitting the horizontal stripes. You finish, you do a split hem, which I absolutely love. A split hem, you do 2x2 rib, you do the collar, a very long turtleneck. I have been folding it down like that. And then you do 2x2 sleeves, and then you rearrange the stitches, and then you bind off, tubular bind off. So it was not with this garment, it was with my Eva cardigan where I did 2x2 rearranging, and I figured it out as I was knitting. Instead of using a helping needle or helping tool or a cable needle to help me rearrange the stitches, I started rearranging the stitches with the first row. So I started rearranging the stitches while knitting the first setup round. That's the word I was looking for. So when you do, if you want to do 2x2 tubular bind off, you have to rearrange the stitches from 2x2 to 1x1 ribbing. And when I first learned to do this, I used a cable needle to help me hold a stitch in the front and move the 2 stitches, the knit and purl stitches. Like, this is 2 knits, this is 2 purls. I would hold it, to like get a knit purl and a knit purl. I hope that makes sense. And with the Eva cardigan, I figured out how to, instead of using a helping tool, to just knit and rearrange at the same time. So it made it a bit faster, and I did it with this. And it's not as complicated as I think it seems. It's a little unintuitive, but once you get the hang of it, you pick it up pretty quickly, and it's not that complicated. So I was able to do that, and I like how it looks. But I generally like how the tubular bind off looks anyway, and I prefer that as my finishing for ribbing on all my garments. So I always bind off with the tubular or Italian, and doing it flat is a lot easier to me because instead of 4 setup rounds, Sandnes Garn instructs 2 setup rounds, and the way they instruct is it's not complicated at all, and it does not require 4 setup rounds. Anyway, moving on to the rest of this garment. So once you finish off the entire knitting process, then you go back with your black yarn, which is also pure Gynt and Tynn silk mohair, and you do duplicate stitching. So I have a video of me doing the duplicate stitching, and I will maybe include it here, but I will definitely have it on my Instagram, and I know I have it on my highlights of my Instagram stories under this Romy Cal on my highlights on my Instagram. So if you're interested in seeing how I did that, I was doing it very slowly at first, and it was really cramping my hands. So I had to take mini breaks while I was duplicating the stitches going up And then when I got to the sleeves, I figured out how to skip a step, I suppose. So I didn't, it's not really skipping a step because it's the same process. I just figured out how to do it a little bit faster. And maybe I'll see if I could include a clip of it here or not, but if not, it is on my Instagram story highlights under Romy Cal, where I do, there's a video of me duplicate stitching up one of the sleeves. Now, as you can tell, the back is not done. I did not do the vertical stripes on the back because I was feeling too lazy. Also on the sleeves. I'll get to that eventually, but for right now, this is a completed project and I am marking that as done. That is done. It's done. This is done. I'll get to that when I get to that. So that is it for my finished objects. And I have a couple of whips. I think I have 3 that I can share, or 3 that I can share. 4, but I'll just briefly mention the one that I've shared before a few times that I've barely made progress on. And that is my toddler's Guernsey Genser. I did finish the back panel. I did a couple of this arm increases here. I figured out, I had complained about this pattern in my last episode where I was having some trouble with figuring it out, but I figured it out and I finished off the back panel. It is going to be very large on her, so I'm not in any rush to actually finish this. I do want to finish it before spring, but yeah, I've talked about this a few times, so I'm not really going to go too much into detail about that anymore. My second whip is a project that I also talked about in my last episode, and it is the Tinde Sweater from Sandnes Garn. This is from their iconic themed magazine, booklet 75. And let me get these out of the way. It's this one. And I will grab it. Okay, so this is the Tinde Sweater from Sandnes Garn. And it is a round yoke colorwork sweater. I am done with the color work. I had shared in the last episode that I had fudged my increases, so I had to rip it out because it wasn't lining up. The motif wasn't lining up here. So I had ripped out back up to here the last time I had shared, I think. So this should actually be going much faster than I'm doing it right now, but I'm in no rush. I will finish this before Christmas, and this will be a Christmas gift for my husband. And yeah, I also want to make the women's version, which is also in this magazine, and I also want to make the toddler version, which I have the yarn and the pattern for. I probably won't get to that anytime soon, and that's okay. I'll get to it when I get to it. So yeah, I have made some progress. I have like 7 or 8 balls of yarn left. So I ran out of a ball of yarn, so I put it on hold and I picked up something else. But when I get back to this, I'm going to finish a sleeve. Then, oops, I dropped a holder. And then I am going to set aside the amount of yarn needed that I used for one sleeve. I'm going to set aside that same amount of yarn for the second sleeve, and then I'm going to go back to the body, finish the body, and then I'll finish off the last sleeve, and then I'll fold this down and sew it down because it's meant to be a folded collar, folded neck. Always mix up those words. Anyway, English is hard sometimes. So that is the Tinde Sweater. I don't think I have anything else to add about this. I like it a lot. It's very thick. It's very cozy. It is knitted on Facile Garn from Sandnes Garn, and yeah, that's a Tinde Sweater. I really like the women's version as well. I want to knit it. I have the yarn for it. I will knit it when I get to it. I feel like it'll be a great Christmassy kind of sweater because the colors I have are similar to this, and I feel like it would be a great Christmas time sweater. But yeah. My third whip was a fall knitting plans knit that I had wanted to make, and it is the Sonja Sweater from Petite Knit. So I am knitting this with pure Gynt, which is not the recommended yarn, but it meets gauge, and I am actually really liking this a lot. It's it is somewhat thinner because the yarn is not the suggested yarn, even though it meets gauge, but because it's a DK weight yarn on, 5mm needles. So it's not, I mean, the lighting now is terrible, but it's not like transparent or translucent by any means, but it's not opaque either. So it's fine as an outerwear piece with, like a t-shirt, a long sleeve t-shirt underneath. But yeah, I am modifying this as well. The ribbing is all 1x1 for the entire garment where ribbing is applied. And I am doing 2x2. And I am also planning on doing another split hem because I just love this split hem element on a knit sweater. I just love it, and I like doing it, and it's fun. So I'm planning on doing 2x2 and a split hem. So yeah, I actually really like how the 2x2 rib looks on this as well. And this yarn is ash gray, and it's a kind of a melange color. Like, it's hard to tell with my lighting over there, but that's okay. I'll also include pictures because I want to be thorough in including as much description as I can. And my final whip is a Monday sweater. I just started on this today. I wound up the yarn today, and I am having a lot of trouble with my winder and my swift. Now, I thought it was my winder because I was having trouble. I don't know if you might recall, but I was having trouble winding up some hand-dyed silk yarn over the summer, and I thought it was the yarn, but it turns out it is my problematic winder and swift. Anyway, so it is a problem with my yarn winder and swift, one or the other or both. Anyway, I started on this Monday sweater today, and I am at the last bit of German short rows. This is going to be very hard to tell. I am so sorry. Let me see if that works. But I am using Facile, I figured out how to say it, Facile, Dreamy Drizzle, and Tin Silk Mohair. This is Merino Singles, Dreamy Drizzle, and then this is, I pulled off all the tags, but it's 1012 colorway of the Mohair. And yeah, that is my last whip. This is the Monday sweater, which was a plan of mine for fall with this yarn, and I have been wanting to make this sweater. I have been wanting to cast on this project since I got the yarn because it is so gorgeous and the speckles are so delicate and it's just so pretty. It's like pinks and purples and reds, a little bit of orange, and it is just so light. And I'm just really excited to knit on this, to finish this, and to have this. And I feel like this is also going to be kind of appropriate for the holidays. Yeah, so that's it for my whips, and I have a few tiny, not really tiny, but I have a few acquisitions that I would like to share. The first one I got in is the Knitting for Olive booklet, not booklet, so used to booklets. The Knitting for Olive book. And there are some stunning patterns in here. I was looking through it earlier when I got it, like last week. By the way, I purchased this from Shop La Mercerie. And I do have a few of these patterns already in my Ravelry library, but it's fine. I don't mind. I didn't realize when I had purchased it that at least like 4 or 5 of the patterns I already own in my pattern library, but it's okay. It's not a big deal. I like having a physical copy of my patterns, and this is going to be very well loved and just overall a classic, a staple in my knitting library. And I also did receive the Hedgehog Fibres Air Club from September, October, and November. And I purchased this on the base. They're skinny singles, and I wanted a sweater's quantity worth, so I also got it on the Mohair so I could combine it. So this is the September on Kid Silk Mohair and on skinny singles. And then this is the October, which is so soft and lovely. And this is the November. And I love Hedgehog Fibres clubs. I think they are a bang for your buck. It is gorgeous. I love their yarns. Definitely up there in my top 3 hand-dyed yarn companies. I love their yarn so much. And last but not least, I also got in the Advent from Hedgehog Fibres, their Advent calendar. I am not opening it yet. Well, I'll just share the inside. It might tumble out, but it is so beautifully packaged. And I don't know that I can I don't know that I can actually wait until December to open it all. I haven't in the past. I've opened it all at once. This is my 3rd time getting their Advent calendars, and I love it. I love Hedgehog Fibres, just their yarn in general, but I love their Advents because it is so beautifully curated. They don't they don't match or anything. It's just really a lovely calendar. I have purchased a mini bundle of 10 mini skeins before from them, and it was a fade, and I combined it all together to make a little sweater for my youngest. And I'll see if I can find a picture and I'll put it up here, but if not, I apologize. It's somewhere on my Instagram, like from 3 years ago. But I did that, and it was just fun. I love all the different projects you can make with mini skeins, and it's just fun coming up with different combinations and combining the yarns and colors. It's just fun. And I have a few skeins left from last year's that I still haven't used, and I'll get to that. My coloring on this, with this lighting, is not the best, and I am so sorry. I don't think that I can edit this post. I don't know what to do. I wouldn't know how to fix the color of this. But yeah, if you've made it this far, thank you. You might have noticed a couple of interruptions coming in for snacks or bathroom breaks. That's fine. I hope you don't have a problem with that. I don't. Yeah. Anyway, that is it for my episode 11 of this knitting podcast episode. I had fun making this video, and I had fun chatting about my projects. I hope you found it enjoyable. I hope the coloring does not, I hope it doesn't deter you from finishing or from watching. It's not even 5, and it is 4:20, and the rain is about to come down, and it is getting very dark outside, and yeah, so I'm actually glad that I set up the light, because it would have been pitch black in here and I wouldn't have been able to record. Nevertheless, thank you for making it this far. Thank you for tuning in. Please subscribe, please like if you haven't, and share below what you are working on this holiday season. Speaking of, I am considering doing an episode talking about my holiday, not necessarily winter, because I don't know that I want to do a winter knitting plans video yet or not. But I am considering doing a holiday, things I want to make for the holiday season for myself and my family members, and a couple of gift knits. I'm not sure yet if I will be able to do that, but I will try. But yeah, I would love to know what you are working on, what you're planning to knit on this holiday season as well. And yeah, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for checking out this video. Thank you for watching this far. And I will see you next time. Bye.